So I used to say that I was a result driven person. And what I'm beginning to realize is that I'm actually more of a progress driven person. Slightly two different things, let me land. In the sense that I need to feel like something is happening every day, that some sort of progress is being made. And I feel like a lot of the times where I've moved on from things in my life is because it felt like there was no progress. And I don't actually think that's the case. If I think about it, the way I see it, if I really put my mind to something, there's hardly ever a time where there is no progress. There's always some sort of movement. The problem that I have, or I had, is the fact that I couldn't always see that movement. I couldn't see the progress. I couldn't see how it's moved forward. And I actually think that as human beings, we are really bad at reading slow progress. You know, if it comes to the big wins or the big losses or the high ups and the lows of emotions, we as humans, we can see them like night and day. But when it comes to the small improvements, the everyday movements, the things that happen, very slightly in the background, we as humans, it's like we can't see them. We lack the ability to notice them. And as I said, I was someone who was extremely results driven. It was more about the end result. And if I wasn't where I wanted to be, I'd sort of feel like, well, nothing's happening, you know. Like with music, if you're not famous, nothing's happening, you're not there. Trading, if you're not making big profits, nothing's happening. If you go to the gym and you're not seeing, bulging muscles, nothing's happening, mate. And even with the lateness, as long as I'm late once or twice, as far as I'm concerned, you're still late. That's the end of it. But systems, they don't they don't judge things only by the end result. It will show you the end result, but what systems does is it judges the movements, the everyday movement. That's what it's looking at, and it gives you the results based on every movement. So what I mean by that is, if I put it for trading, for example, I might look at it and say, every win and every loss felt emotional, felt massive. Whereas now, as I say, I'm just sort of collecting data, the trade logs, seeing the percentages, working on the trade discipline. And, I don't sort of look at every day, did I win today? I just say, has there been any improvements? Whether it's small or big, has anything changed? If I take it to the gym, it's like if you lose, let's just say you lose, a quarter of a stone every week, and you're not tracking it. Sometimes you can go to the gym for 2 months and it looks like nothing's changed. You look exactly the same. And if you're not tracking it, how would you be able to tell if anything's changed or if there is a trend? With the music, again, it's like, you put something out and sometimes you expect or you hope that things take off overnight. And because nothing's happening, you're not getting no shows or whatever at the time, you're thinking, there's no progress. But again, if you're looking at the systems, the view counts and stuff like that, you can track progress. You can see, it might only be 10 views the next video and then 30 views the next video. But there is progress, there is improvements happening all the time. So I'm beginning to realize now that it's not the fact that there's never any progress happening. Progress is probably happening every single day. What I've changed is my ability to be able to see this progress. As I said, if I'm late 10 times in a month and then the next month I'm late 5 times in a month, my brain tells me you're still late. Whereas the system and the records might say to me, well, actually, you made a 50% improvement. You've halved it. It's progress. Yeah. I did used to think like success was the main thing that motivated me. But now that I really know what success is small progress every day. That's what it is. It's continuously working towards what it is that you want to achieve. And, I wasn't lacking motivation. I was just lacking visible progress. If I can't see it, there's no proof. I don't get my dopamine hits. I don't get the motivation that I might be looking for. And therefore, you tend to look for something else that, you feel might work. So the real game changer for me was tracking. And that's in terms of like journals, spreadsheets, checklists, calendars, trackers. I'm sure some people, if they saw this, they'd start laughing when I'm saying all these things, because a lot of people know that it's not really something that I really engaged in, should I say. But all these systems do one thing. They make progress and movement visible. I can see the small everyday movements that is happening in my life. As I said, if I'm in the gym and I weigh myself, when I look in the mirror, it doesn't look like anything's changed. But if every day I can see that I'm going down, or I can see I'm going up, depending on what your target is, that is proof. That is evidence. That is telling you whatever you're doing is working, no matter how small it is. And, as I said, I feel like a lot of us quit because we think things ain't working, and it actually is. We just can't see it. So it's about creating that visibility. Definitely about creating that visibility. As I said, it's not about the end result. It's about chasing daily movement, asking myself, am I getting better than yesterday? Am I getting better results? Am I slightly more aware? Am I slightly more consistent? The end goals are really bad motivators, to be fair, because they always stay really far away for a long time. And then when you get there, it changes. So yeah, I wasn't lacking progress. I was basically lacking proof of progress. And, it's not about obsessing over the destination. It's building systems that allow me to see what it is that I'm doing, see myself moving forward every day. Because when I see movement, I keep going. And that's what does it for me. But as you know, I'm forever learning.